Hi, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for joining me today for another flow. Today I'm bringing you a quick 15-minute full body flow that you can take any time in your day if you are on break for work, maybe first thing in the morning or when you come home for work. Really great way to stretch out and give the entire body a little bit of love, especially if you are busy and on a time crunch. So the theme of today's flow is definitely making time for ourselves, especially when we have a little bit of chaotic events going on around our lives, especially if we work or have children. It's so vital that we take time to really care for ourselves and give our bodies and minds just a little bit of peace. So that's definitely the theme of today's flow. So we're going to be going through the entire body, doing a lot of poses to really make sure we give every part of us just a little bit of attention before we continue on for the rest of the day. This is a beginner level flow. If you have some blocks, you may grab them out. This is still beginner friendly, and I will show you variations that you can utilize the blocks for. Without further ado, let's get started. We're going to start in just an easy seated easy pose. Apologies. So we're going to start in our easy pose. We're just going to place hands on knees. We're going to sit up nice and tall. If you are someone who tends to round or collapse into the chest, maybe round in the shoulders, I'll invite you in this easy pose to really think of lifting and lengthening, pushing that tailbone deep into the mat, deep into the earth, and grounding down through all four corners of that sit bone. As we think of lifting and lengthening, you can even imagine pulling the chest forward ever so slightly and maybe engaging those scapulas together just a little bit, just a little pinch there. And as we hold here, let's take 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Very good. We'll take 2 more. Allowing our minds to come to present moment and wander away from obligations. So we enjoy this brief period, this brief 10 minutes that we are taking for ourselves. Okay, we're going to inhale, bring hands up. Big stretch here as we gently gaze up. We're not crunching with the neck, we're just gazing up towards the ceiling. Let's bring palms together, turn and face you for this part. And we're just going to dip over to the right side. If you'd like to make this stretch a little bit deeper, I'll invite you to flip your left hand so the palm is facing the ceiling. With your right hand, grab that wrist and just gently give a little bit of a pull here. Making sure we're not falling into it forward. We're really leaning over to the side to get a beautiful side body bend. Very good. Reverse that flip. Bring the hands back to touch. Come up on the inhale, and then we will exhale. Switch sides. So whatever you did on the last side, you can take on this side. Again, remaining present in this moment. If the mind starts to wander, that's totally fine. Just invite it back to this moment here. Let it know that all other obligations will be dealt with as soon as we're done. Inhaling to come up, good. Bring the hands apart. Nice big stretch that we started in. And on the exhale, you're going to bring the right hand down to the left knee. Left hand is going to come behind. And if you're able, you're going to take a glance over that left shoulder. So here's what that looks like. You can even come up onto the fingertips if that's a little bit more accessible to you, instead of just placing the hand down on the mat. In fact, I prefer to take that variation because I think it really reminds us to lift and lengthen. So just keep breathing here. Feel where the muscles are working or opening. And then as you inhale, come back up to that first pose. And we're just going to switch sides. So left hand comes down to the right knee, right hand comes behind. Again, lifting and lengthening. Hold here as you breathe. Very well done. From here, you are going to bring those hands right back to the knees, into that easy pose, and we're going to take a little bit of a seated cat-cow. So to start, we are going to inhale, pull the chest forward as we engage those scapulas, glancing up towards the ceiling. Again, we're not crunching here, just glancing. As you exhale, we're going to round and contract through the spine, tucking the chin into the chest here, okay? So we're just going to repeat that movement with the inhale and exhale. about 4 more times in total, making any little movements here that may feel good to us. And as a reminder, you don't have to go super far with your bends. You can go as far or as deep as comfortable for the body or as serves the body. The point of this is to not be in pain, but rather invite in some gentle movements and take care of ourselves. Very good, last one. And inhale forward, fantastic. Very good, coming back to center. We're going to take a little bit of a seated side body stretch, this time a little bit differently. So I know I'm turning and not turning a lot just to show you everything, but we're going to inhale, bring the hands up, which we've done already once. We're going to lower the left hand down to the mat. If you have a block, this may make this pose a little bit more comfortable. You can always place your hand on the block to give you a little bit more of height. And then from here, right hand comes up and over, and we come into a little bit of a bend here, another side body stretch, holding here. As we breathe again, making sure we're not rounding, but we're trying to almost stack one shoulder on top of the other. Keep them parallel. Very good, inhale, come up. And then we can switch sides. If you use the block on one side, use the block on the other side. Very good. Inhaling to come up. You can place your block over to the side for right now. As we come into our next pose, I'd invite you at this point to turn and face the long edge of the mat. Once you're facing the long edge of the mat, we're going to take a seated little straddle. So we're just going to push the left leg out to the bottom left corner of the mat and bring the right foot towards the upper right corner. From here, we're just going to place our hands behind us. And we're just going to kind of sit here in this pose. We're going to flex the toes towards the head, and we're going to use our hands behind the back to make sure we're lifting and lengthening through the chest. So we're not rounding here. This pose is active throughout the whole body. We're just going to breathe, and again, if you'd like to, a block can help shorten the distance from your hand in the ground. So if you find that to be helpful in this pose, you're more than welcome to grab them at this time. Just one more breath here. Very good. From here, we are going to keep this pose, this posture, and I'll show you, we can use another block in this pose. So I'm just going to place a block right on the outside, the right outside edge of my right foot. I'm going to inhale, come up, and then my right hand is just going to come down to this block as I reach up and over here. You can also grab the foot if that is accessible to you and kind of rest the forearm on that foot. Again, just making sure we are not collapsing through the shoulders, trying to stack one shoulder on top of the other, holding here. And the block may help you to not fall into that pose if you can't really reach all that way yet, or come a little bit deeper as well. So just holding for 2 more deep breaths. Beautiful. When you release, bring the left hand down to the floor. Right foot comes down to meet it, right hand. Walk the hands to the center, and again, you can grab a block or 2 here if it helps, to bring your hands on top as we come into this wide-legged forward fold. You can also bring it under your forearms and make this more relaxed in the upper back, just holding here. Or if you want to be more active throughout the upper body, push the block away and reach here. Keeping those toes flexed towards the head. Very good. From here, we are going to lift up through the fingers or lift up off the block. Walk the hands over to the left foot. If you used a block on the right side, let's use it on the left side. Left hand grabs the foot or the block. Right hand comes up and over. Side body stretch here. Thinking of lifting and lengthening even through these side bends. So if it helps, you can always come into lifting the hands up overhead and then bringing that left hand down, reaching the right up and over. Very good. Inhaling to come back up to our beginning posture. We're going to take the left leg and bring it towards the top of our mat. We're going to come into a seated staff pose. Staff pose is going to be very active. So just like we did before in our wide-legged fold forward, we're going to flex the toes towards the top of the head, and we're going to place the hands either directly on top of the thighs or framing the sit bone. If you'd like, again, you can grab a block here, use it to shorten the length that the hand has to kind of stretch from the ground, or you can simply place them on your thighs. If you notice you're rounding here, let's ground through the sit bone and really think of lifting and lengthening all the way from the tailbone to the crown of the head as we engage those shoulder blades back and the scapulas just squeeze together ever so slightly, okay? 2 deep breaths here. Especially if we sit down for long periods of time, this is really a wonderful practice to take. Good. Inhale, bring hands up, and we're just going to take a very relaxed fold forward. So exhale to fold, and you can grab your toes, you can grab your ankles, whatever you can grab, and you'll notice I'm rounding through the back here. That's totally fine. Through the upper body, this is a more relaxed pose, a more relaxed fold. You can even, if body is feeling good and enjoys it, you can even bring hands down to the floor. However, I'm feeling a little tight today, so I'm just going to keep the hold on the toes for 3 more breaths. Maybe over time you start to bring the hands lower, you notice you're making more space within the body. Very good. Lift up through the fingertips, through the chest. Walk the hands in, return to that original staff position, and then bring the soles of the feet touch. Let's come to a seated butterfly. So fingers are in between the big toe and the pointer toe. And then from here, we're sitting up nice and tall. And if you'd like to, you can continue to hold here in this reclined butterfly, or you can take a fold. So you can bring the elbows to the crook of the leg, basically. Make sure, again, we're nice and straight through our back as we hinge from the hips and lower the chest down towards the mat. Now, you don't have to go super far here. We're just going to hold a couple breaths as we have with this hip opener. Keep breathing. Very good. Inhale to come up. Use the hands. Bring the knees together. Very good. And send them down to return to that beginning staff pose. However, we're going to bring our hands down behind us, scooch our sit bones down, and come to lay on the mat just for a moment here. So we're going to take a bit of a reclined stretch here. So from here, we're going to let our left leg come down towards the bottom of the mat. Right knee is going to come in. We're going to give it a big squeeze. We're going to lift our head up, try to bring it to that knee. Hold here, 2 deep breaths. Very good. Inhale to lower. Left hand is going to guide this right knee over to the left side. And the right hand is going to come out towards the right as we look over our right shoulder, a little twist here, a little spinal twist. Very good. Inhale to come back up. Give that knee just one final squeeze. Inhale to release. Exhale to switch sides, inviting that left knee in now. Holding here as you round through the upper back. Squeezing that knee into the chest. Good. Inhale, lower the head down. Right hand, as you exhale, guides that left knee over to the right side. Left hand comes over. Scooch a little bit. There we go. Holding here. Just a couple breaths. Very good. Inhaling to come back up. Grabbing that knee once more and lifting the head, exhaling, holding. And remember, even though I say we hold a pose, we always breathe through the pose, right? So always breathe. Very good, release. And bring the hands to frame the sit bone, okay? On your next exhale, we're going to bring the knees in a little bit closer to the body. We're going to take a bridge pose. So imagine someone is going to be pulling us up by a string, and as that happens, we lift the pelvis, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, tucking the shoulders underneath us ever so slightly. We're going to hold to this bridge pose here, keeping the knees in line with the hips as we breathe. This is a little bit intense for you. You can always place a block under the sit bone, under the hips, just to help the body stay and learn to stay in this pose, give it some assistance in staying in this pose. And then as you inhale, we can lower straight back down to the earth. Very good. Exhale, bring the knees into the chest, both at the same time. Wrap the arms around and just kind of roll back and forth on the mat a little bit. A gentle back massage here. This is also a wonderful pose for cramping of any kind. And then inhaling to come back to neutral, exhaling to grab the feet or the ankles, whatever you can grab, and guiding the knees in towards the armpits with the ankles directly above the knees in a nice straight line. Happy baby here, 3 deep breaths. And you can also choose to roll around again if that feels good for you. Very good. Last pose, we'll invite you to bring the feet back down to the mat. On your inhale, hands can stay at the sides, coming right by the head, so making kind of like a football shape by the head. Widen the stance of the feet a little bit, and then just start to drop the feet over to the right, or the knees over to the right. Inhale to come up, and exhale to come down to the left. Good. Just a little bit of windshield wiper for our last posture today. Very good. One more on each side. Very good. And then we'll take a nice little short shavasana. So coming into corpse pose, bringing the feet down towards the bottom of the mat. Palms are facing up towards the ceiling, or you can bring the feet to the width of the mat and allow the knees to fall into each other if you want a little bit more support for the low back. And of course, you can also always take your shavasana in a seated upright posture. So to close today's practice, I'll just invite you to relax all muscles in the face just for a couple moments. Closing the eyes, relaxing the jaw, maybe opening the mouth slightly if it's feeling a little bit tight. Shrugging the shoulders down and away from the ears, keeping the hands open to receiving, and just breathing here, taking in all the work that you've done over the last 15 minutes, basking in the joy that is taking time for ourselves. And again, if the mind starts to wander, invite it back to present moment, invite it back to how you feel currently, and just let the mind know that you will get back to those thoughts as soon as you finish. Very good. We'll gently start to open the eyes, wiggle fingers and toes as we invite consciousness back to the body. You can roll over to one side whenever you're ready and meet me in any seated posture. We'll finish up by inhaling, lifting the hands up overhead and holding everything that we created for ourselves today. Exhaling all of that down to heart center where it never leaves as we bow forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for flowing with me. It's been my pleasure today, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.